On October 9, 1967, a wounded man sat inside a small schoolhouse in Bolivia. His hands were tied, his clothes were dirty, and outside, soldiers were waiting for an order. The prisoner was Ernesto Che Guevara, one of the most famous revolutionaries in modern history. Within hours, he would be dead, but his face would become immortal. So, how did an Argentine doctor become a guerrilla commander, help overthrow a government, and turn into a global symbol of revolution? This is the story of Che Guevara. Che was born in Argentina in 1928. As a young man, he studied medicine and planned to become a doctor. But everything changed when he began traveling across Latin America. During his famous motorcycle journey, Che witnessed extreme poverty, inequality, and suffering. He saw workers living in terrible conditions. He met families who had almost nothing, and slowly, his view of the world began to change. Che became convinced that poverty was not simply an accident. He believed the political and economic system itself was responsible, and he started to believe that real change could only come through revolution. In 1955, Che traveled to Mexico. There, he met a young Cuban revolutionary named Fidel Castro. Castro was preparing an armed rebellion against Cuba's dictator, Fulgencio Batista. Che joined the group as a doctor, but he would not remain a doctor for long. In 1956, Che, Fidel Castro, and a small group of rebels sailed to Cuba aboard a yacht called the Granma. The mission nearly ended in disaster. Batista's forces attacked the rebels shortly after they arrived. Many were killed or captured. The survivors escaped into the Sierra Maestra Mountains, and this is where Che Guevara transformed. He became a guerrilla fighter, then a commander. Che gained a reputation for discipline, intelligence, and extreme determination. The rebels fought Batista's army using surprise attacks, mountain hideouts, and support from local communities. By late 1958, Batista's government was collapsing. Che led rebel forces during the Battle of Santa Clara, one of the most important victories of the Cuban Revolution. Soon after, Batista fled Cuba. On January 1, 1959, the revolution had won. Che Guevara was now one of the most powerful figures in the new Cuban government. He held several important positions and helped shape Cuba's new economic and political direction. But Che was also deeply controversial. After the revolution, executions of people linked to Batista's government took place at La Cabaña prison, where Che held authority. Supporters viewed these actions as revolutionary justice. Critics saw them as brutal political repression. This controversy would follow Che's legacy for decades. But Che did not want to remain behind a government desk. He believed revolution should spread beyond Cuba. In 1965, he disappeared from public life and traveled to Africa. He attempted to support a rebellion in Congo. The mission failed, but Che still refused to give up. His next destination was Bolivia. In 1966, Che secretly entered the country and began organizing a guerrilla movement. But this time, everything went wrong. His fighters struggled to gain local support. The Bolivian military hunted them through the mountains, and with intelligence support from the CIA, the pressure increased. On October 8, 1967, Che was wounded and captured. He was taken to a small schoolhouse in the village of La Higuera. The next day, the Bolivian government ordered his execution. Che Guevara was shot and killed. He was only 39 years old. But death did something unexpected to his image. A photograph taken years earlier by Alberto Corda, showing Che wearing a black beret and staring into the distance, spread across the world. His face appeared on posters, flags, walls, and eventually millions of t-shirts. To some, Che Guevara became a symbol of resistance, courage, and rebellion against oppression. To others, he remained a violent revolutionary responsible for authoritarian actions. More than half a century after his death, the argument continues. Hero? Villain? Revolutionary? Or something far more complicated? Whatever you believe, one thing is undeniable. Che Guevara died in a small schoolhouse in Bolivia, but his image became one of the most recognizable symbols in modern history.